The deficit of nearly $1.6 trillion is historic. So we asked David Muir to remind us just exactly how we got here. David.
Diane, we've been trying to wrap our heads around this all afternoon, these numbers. And at the rate that we just heard from Jake, in just 5 hours, that's $1 billion of the deficit. And when we start tossing around $1 billion, it's a huge number. Just think, 1 billion hours ago, we were in the Stone Age. But we're talking about spending here, and the numbers are dizzying.
So many people are asking, just how did we get here? A projected deficit of nearly $1.6 trillion, especially when it wasn't long ago we had a surplus. In 2000, when President Clinton left office, we were in the black by $236 billion. And at the time, number crunches projected a surplus at least 10 years out. But just 2 years later, we were in the red by nearly $158 billion. 9/11 paralyzing the economy, and President Bush enacting his first round of tax cuts. By 2004, the deficit had more than doubled to nearly $413 billion. The U.S. had invaded Iraq and another round of tax cuts and expanded Medicare. And by the end of 2008, as the deficit approached $458 billion, a banking system near collapse, President Bush signs the $700 billion bank bailout. And then President Obama and the $787 billion economic recovery plan, bringing us to $1.4 trillion in debt and counting.
What started out as a trickle in 2008 turned into quite a flood in 2009. Neither party can wash their hands of responsibility. The current administration has adopted a lot of those same policies. So frankly, I don't think you can point partisan fingers.
In fact, to put this deficit in perspective, it's the largest since World War II. And you've heard all those warnings about future generations paying the price. Bixby says it's not just rhetoric.
Future generations are in a world of hurt because we're running up this debt. We're going to have to pay interest.
The younger generation paying the interest just as their parents, boomers, start relying on Social Security. But is there any magic bullet? Jobs, everyone agrees, would help, more tax revenue and more consumer spending. But those jobs aren't here yet.
That's for sure. And in the meantime, economists say there is consensus from Republicans and Democrats on one thing, that something needs to be done. And in just the 2 minutes of this report, Diane, we did the calculating. Another $5.9 million, $5.9 million added to the deficit.
And over about 5 hours, $1 billion.
$1 billion.
Will be added. Okay, thanks to you, David. And on our website, we asked you to weigh in earlier on what Jake told you about the president's decision to end the NASA program to return to the moon. And by a 3-2 margin, you told us you thought that was misguided. You can still voice your opinion on that and other subjects. What would you cut? And go to our website to do that, abcnews.com, and click on World News. President Obama went on YouTube today fielding questions from Americans across the country, ranging from taxes to the rising cost of tuition. Asked about health care reform, the president said he remains hopeful a bill can be passed.
Mr. Marcus writes, Mr. President, the 40 million people who have no insurance can't wait. Will they be able to get insurance this year?
We have this enormous opportunity. But the way the rules work in the United States Senate, you've got to have 60 votes for everything. After the special election in Massachusetts, we now only have 59. We are calling on our Republican colleagues to get behind a serious health reform bill.